I try, like, I'm kind of sick of the left, especially the far left, just like railing on him so much. It gets so heavy. They rip and just rail on him and his administration. While I actually agree that a lot of the things he says and does are freaking wacky, I'm like, I don't want to hear about it 24/7. I'd rather look at his policies and just disagree with that shit.
Actually, the left has given him more of a microphone than the right ever could have done on their own. I'm a centrist as well, and when I see the number of of minutes and hours and days of airtime that the allegedly liberal media has given him, it's a gift. If without the cooperation from the left in letting him set the agenda, he would never have been taken seriously the way he is. Wow. Or that's my opinion. It's media relations is something we do at my firm.
So you get it.
And well, there's actually a producer at one of the Fox channels told one of the people who work for me.
Fox Chicago or Fox National?
It was nationally.
Fox News.
It was not here in Chicago.
Fox News.
But it was one of their stations, one of the producers, and said, look, I just want to do you a favor because you've been coming to me with these pitches of really interesting
They're speaking
stuff.
to you?
They were speaking to someone who works for me.
Got it.
And they said, look, I just want to be candid with you. If your story, if you're pitched, they were saying, look, we have this client, he has a really cool thing to say, let's get him onto one of the shows. They have a good relationship. And they said, look, I just got to be honest with you. If it doesn't either agree or disagree with the Trump agenda, I'm not interested because that's what's driving our ratings.
You either got to outright agree or disagree?
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
man.
So, and a lot of the stuff that we were pitching at the time it just wasn't related to it. It was financial. It was stories.
So you respond with like, this has nothing to do with Trump. Right. If you can't find an angle to make it do with Trump, then
that's
shit.
How to get hung up on by a broadcast producer.
Wow.
Is say it has nothing to do with Trump.
Wow.
Yeah. So
Crazy.
that was a pretty eye-opening moment. Yeah. I think personally and professionally, it was like, okay, do we act on that? Do we tell our clients that they should be doing
so
something
artificial
on the
and
Trump agenda?
authentic.
Yeah. Yeah.
Damn.
So it was
but again, I want to be clear. It wasn't Fox News, the national Fox News.
It was one of the Fox affiliated broadcasts. I don't want to call anybody out.
I agree. I don't want.
It was a national Fox affiliated station.
Yeah, I don't want to call that either. But tell us which one. All right, so that's markets, and I would recommend now is the time to be borrowing to buy real estate. Especially the thing I love about real estate is, and I always say this on every podcast, you're borrowing, especially if you can do like a 3% FHA loan. You're borrowing $100,000 to buy a house. You only put $3,000 or $4,000 down, but you have $100,000 asset that you're hoping will go up 5%, 10% a year on $100,000 value. It's like, what other country can you do that in the world? Pretty much no other country.
Yeah. I mean,
fantastic.
I love the United States. I think we're still, we have a lot of problems. We have a lot of things that people complain about, but we just have this wonderful economy where people really can go from nothing to being, very wealthy. The interesting thing about our culture and our economy is it can go both ways. Yeah. Right? Like we all have to be on our game.
I see. Wait, when you say both ways, I see the way you just described, which is like anyone could really come here, pull themselves up by the bootstraps, figure out some of the financial systems and the borrowings, and
rags to riches,
and try and get rags to riches.
American story, and I truly believe that we. Still
God
have
bless
that.
my pops. We're Palestinian. Yeah. We came to this country. My favorite joke is he says, "I came to this country with nothing but the shirt on my back," and to the day this man passed away, may he rest in peace. He wore no pants.
What?
Damn, it didn't work.
I think we were like, what?
Dun, 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 dun,
Dun, dun.
I was waiting for it. I think it was my delivery. But and he did it. He figured it out. There was a whole lot of crazy shit that happened in between, but he figured it out.
He figured it out, and and
we're middle class, baby.
Yeah, middle class. You were a salesperson for J.P. Morgan.
What does that make me?
I don't know. You tell me.
High class, bitches. So yeah, you're right. It can go either way. I get. Oh, it's okay. I get that way. The other way is you can get really poor.
Yeah,
because that's what this country. A lot of this country is.
You can. I mean, if you don't, if you have a family that's not a good curator of their wealth, then it can absolutely. It may take a generation or two. But I will tell you, like my family in the early 20th century, we were like the barons of industry. We were the 1%. Yeah, my maiden name's Adams.
Whoa,
we were presidents.
No shit.
Yeah,
you go back to James Adams.
So John Adams and John Quincy Adams.
I'm sorry,
were
James Madison. I was thinking of. So John Adams, John Quincy Adams. They were your cousins.
They were cousins of my ancestor. Yeah.
No shit.
Yeah, I recently was looking up the family tree, and I'm descended from 4 guys named Eliashib Adams. I kid you not.
Wait, 4 guys named what?
Eliashib.
Eliashib. Is that
It's
a
like
name?
one name.
Eliashib?
I don't know. It's biblical.
And you say you
or
descended from
something.
4 guys. You make it almost sound like there
Like
was like gay
junior,
marriages happening, and you
senior.
somehow descended from that.
Yeah, I don't think the early
That early?
Adams were into gay marriage.
Your family invented gay marriage.
I don't think so.
Wow, Eliashib. Sounds
Yeah.
very like almost like Quakery, maybe. You know.
Yeah. They were
Cool.
the Puritans. They were, and so they and
Your family. So your family's been in this country for hundreds of years.
yeah, since the early 1600s.
No shit.
Yeah.
And so they were barons. I'm sorry to laugh
and
about
yeah, and
this.
they were
At some
wealthy.
point, it sounds like there's
Like,
a
on
shitty
both sides of
story.
no, it is a shitty story. 'Cause, like,
I'm sorry.
no, it's true. But on both sides.
One
of my
asshole ruined it for the rest of us. His
family- it takes more than one asshole.
It was Eliashib Jr.
The third out of 4 of those damned Eliashibs.
So what happened? Wait, let's hear the story. Do you know the story?
You know, it's what happens is over time, and because like we work in my business, we work with a lot of wealth managers, and it's easy to say, oh, okay, like, you know, careful investing and take your family wealth. But when you look at like very wealthy family, like, oh yeah, like that wealth's ever going to go away. Like you can't go through that in a lifetime. And in some families you can, but you can if there's like 3 or 4 lifetimes. If you have 3 or 4 generations of people who decide to be kind of like loser alcoholics, like eventually it's gonna go away.
through that shit.
Eventually they'll have to sell off the real estate, and you know, it does run out eventually.
You got to pay your dealer back somehow.
Yeah. No, it's true. So there's
So at some point, the Adamses or Eliashibs owned. They had a lot of
The
political
Eliashib
connections.
Adamses.
The Eliashib Adams. They had a lot of political power, which I can imagine helped them kind of like amass assets and things like that. They're
Exactly.
well connected.
Yeah.
They know what's going on in the world.
Yeah.
And then that gets collected, and then it gets passed down, and you hit one kid who's like, I'm entitled. I just got all this shit. And the dad or mom did not teach him how to be like the
Right,
value of a dollar
right.
and all this stuff.
Yeah.
And then he just blows through it all.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to call out any specific people in my family tree, but like there's a couple people I can just look at and be like, you know what? They hung out, they went to a lot of parties. You know, there's some good stories from that, but you know,
They
not a lot.
shouldn't have been worth $1 billion of stories, though.
Yeah, not a lot left over for the great grandkids.
Damn, that's amazing that you know all this.
I've looked at it.
I want to hear so much more about this.
That's great.
I guess as a Muslim Palestinian who just came to this country, right? Like that's all. I think we hear about like old money in America, right?
Yeah.
And so I never thought like I'd come across people like that. There was one time, I swear to you, I was at an Obama fundraiser.
Yeah.
And do you guys ever Henry Crown Center?
The Robert Crown Center?
Robert Crown Center? Is that it?
Yeah.
Well, that's the Crown family. They named it the Robert Crown because they paid for that. And so
Right.
the Crown family is a big family.
Yeah.
In Chicago, right?
Yeah, they're huge.
Evanston? Oh, Maddie knows her shit.
They own the clock tower on Northwestern's campus as well.
They own the clock
They
tower.
own a shit ton of stuff.
Right.
Yeah.
So I meet like the grandfather, like the big dog, the big swinging crown dick. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
And I forget. I think it's Lester.
Sounds like an interesting meeting. I don't know.
I want to say it's Lester. And I had a friend. Who was super tight with Obama. He was one of his biggest
Nice.
fundraisers. He got me into like, I wasn't at the regular fundraiser. I was at like the private thing beforehand.
Yeah, you're
you know,
like
where
at
you
the-
just rubbing shoulders, right? I was
Yeah.
like, whoa, man, I've arrived, bitches. You know, and
The VIP fundraiser.
Yeah, little did I know, I was 27. I had my head up my ass, but hey, I thought I was big shit back then. So anyway, and I'm like, who's this guy? I look at his tag. I'm like, Lester Crown. That sounds rich. I'm like, let me just go up and talk to this dude. And
Yeah.
so I introduce myself, and I shake his hand. He's like, hey. He looks at my name tag, right? And I'm like, my name's Amr Abdullah. And he's like, oh, where are you from? I'm like, I'm Palestinian. I don't know if he's Jewish or if he's a Zionist or what. He's just like, oh, okay. And he stops looking at me. He didn't move away. He just stops looking
man.
at me. And I'm
That's
like,
terrible.
I'm like, who, am I in this conversation still? I keep talking to someone who's not looking at me, but he's standing there.
Okay.
And I'm like, yo, I think this is one of those old money people that is just like, I got no time for this dude.
Oh, wow.
And I eventually like had to wrap up
That's
the
not
conversation
cool.
and just walk away from this dude. I was like, this is weird.
Yeah. You
Yeah.
know, that,
So
I mean, that happens.
He still talked to you, but
He wasn't present. He was there physically.
Checked out.
Oh, okay.
He kept like looking around. I think he was looking for Obama or something. I don't know.
He was looking for someone else to talk to.
Yeah, let me find a non-Palestinian is what I was making up in my head.
Oh, okay.
As a Palestinian, we get insecure about all that kind of shit.
You know, it happens though. Like
Yep.
people do that.
Yep. So that's markets and this government. I think trying to do everything it can to revive the economy if shit were to hit the fan. So I think you can feel okay. Let's quickly move on to the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. I don't think people appreciate the fact that we were almost in a war this week.
Yeah, it's probably not getting the press that it should.
No, it is not.
That was a close call.
I mean,
This is the first time I'm hearing it. So
no shit. See, there you go.
Yeah.
There you go. The last millennial, first time you're hearing it.
Yep.